Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to get started with LightKey. So I only recently started using LightKey myself. Actually, in the past I have used Jan's Vista, and while I like Vista for some things, there are a lot of things that are really quirky about it for a volunteer-based church culture like we find ourselves in most of the time. Jan's Vista can be a little bit complicated to get around in. The visualizer to see what your lights are doing is really not great. You can get third-party visualizers for it. But just recently, I started digging around a whole bunch into LightKey. LightKey seems to be a great software option here. That only works on Macintosh, so if you're a PC based, this isn't going to work for you. But LightKey is a great option for the Mac. So I started playing around with it to see what it could do, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So if you go to lightkeyapp.com, don't just go to lightKey.com, that'll send you somewhere different. Go to lightkeyapp.com, and you'll come up to the website and you can download it and do all your licensing and all that sort of thing. One thing that I like about LightKey over Jan's Vista is the cost of it. So let's head over here. So you can see for the different amount of DMX channels that you need, you can get your subscription. This is a yearly subscription, I believe. Yes, so valid for 1 year. Most churches probably only need 512 for a lot of what they're doing. For a smaller context, you may be even able to get away with just 256. 1024 is just $199. So those costs are really good for a yearly subscription. To do the same 1,000 channels with Jan's Vista was several $100s to get the dongle that goes along with that. And then if you didn't have the dongle plugged into the computer, then it caused all kinds of things. So being able to go to subscription based like this is really useful and pick the number of channels that you want. It does work with lots of different external triggers. It is already set up to work with M1 and M2 Macs. And it works really well. So you can see all the different USB interfaces and DMX interfaces that you can use out of your computer. It works with ArtNet. Currently, I've been building a system for a local church plant that's happening that just recently launched in my area, and I was using LightKey to set up some things for them. And we're using the Entech DMX USB Pro MK2. This also works with things like the Stream Deck that you can use and program the functionality on the Stream Deck to be able to push a button and get to your different scenes and things like that as well. So really usable software, lots of fixtures in here, and it's pretty easy to get around in. So once you download the software, we'll jump out of the web here. When it opens up, it brings you to this screen here. We're going to create a new project, and it's really easy to get set up. So we're just going to call this LightKey Test, and I'll just save this to my desktop for right now. So the first thing it's going to have you do is choose your DMX output device. I don't have one connected right now, but you can see USB, ArtNet, all the options up there. So we're just going to choose offline mode for right now, and I'm going to click next. And right here is selecting all of your fixtures. So you can see all your DMX channels within this particular universe up to 512. So we're going to select the fixtures. I'm going to use the same fixtures that I used for the church for this quick setup for them. So we're going to search for the EVEF, and it's in Chauvet. That's the one I need there. So then I'm going to click on that fixture, and I'm just going to drag it into place. And then it gives you the options here. So you've got different modes that you can go into for how many channels that it is using. You can do some separate patching in here if you need to, make any comments you need to, whatever. So we have 4 of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit 4, and then I'm going to click patch, and you see them drop right in there. The other lights that I have in the system are the SlimPar Q12 USB, so I'm going to take and drag those in there, and I have 8 of those in the system. And we're going to stick with the 9 mode, so that 9 channels, so it gives it full functionality. and click patch, and you can see it says that I don't have a license, but for this context it doesn't matter. Though all these ones that have the color with them, it means that they will be on a free service. You have up to 21 channels, it looks like. So these would work even if I didn't have the purchased license. The grayed out ones are the ones that are saying they won't work if you try to output them, but not really concerned about that right now. So that's all it takes to patch your fixtures in here. So you can see the entire list here of all the different brands that they have, and then all the different lights within. This is just the Chauvet list right here. So they've got plenty of stuff in there that you can go in and patch in. So now that I'm done there, I'm just gonna go ahead and click next. So then it drops all of these onto the screen. So here's what I'm gonna do. This is your editor window. Like I said, the thing that I didn't like about Jams Vista is the visualizer was pretty terrible. So I'm gonna create my stage and kind of my placement in here pretty quickly. So you've got some shapes that you can just click and drag in here. It's a 8 foot by 16 foot stage. So I'm gonna call each one of these boxes a 4 foot box there. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, that's all I needed, sorry. Each of these small boxes is a foot. So I need 8 by 16. So I'm gonna call that my stage. And I'm going to put, the way that I have this set up for them, I've got kind of this type of a setup with the wash lights, because they're meeting in the theater. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this line out here. So now I kind of have a little bit of a visual representation. You can put truss in if you'd like to. You've got those options to click and drag. You can put text to go along with things. They've also got different images and stuff. So if you wanted to grab a person and put them on stage, come on, just working here. Put them on stage, and you can do that if you'd like to. Once I select these lights, I can set my beam directions as well. So I'm going to click on the beam direction button over here once I click on a light, and instead of just pointing down, I'm going to do this, and this is kind of the outside one. So I'm gonna, let's try that 30 degrees there, and then let's go to this next one, beam direction, and so forth. You can see how this kind of works pretty quickly to be able to do everything that you want it to do. Beam angles there, I'm gonna leave these 4 at the back just as they are, so they'll get their glow and stuff back there. Once I click next, now I can select, put groups together. So I know I want these 4 lights to be grouped together. So we're gonna select the 4 that I want. I'm gonna right click and click group. I want these 2 inside lights to be grouped together. And then I want these 2 to be grouped together. And then we'll take these 4 and we will group them together as well. So now everything's in groups. So if I select one, it selects all of them in that group. If I double click, then I'm just working with this one fixture. But if I click once, it's gonna select the whole group and do all of your effects to both of them. If I double click, it goes just to the one. So now all of my groups are set up, and I'm gonna click next. And I can set beam colors if I want to. I'm not gonna do that for right now, just cause it's unnecessary. So this says that it's changed, but these are just wash lights that are just a warm wash, warm white kind of a wash on those. So we're just gonna go ahead and move on. And there, we're all done. And now we can get in. So now you can see kind of how I have my lights pointing. And you can see the 2 center lights I have kind of pointing across the center of the stage there. And I have these pointing towards the side. So this is just a representation of how the lights are going to show on the screen. So that was really easy to go ahead and put all of those in there and together. You saw how quickly that came together and to group things together. And it's just as easy to create presets and to set things up. If you're just in the design mode, you can stay here. So I just clicked on this one group of all these lights in the back. I can go and select on the color wheel and pick whatever color I want here. I've also got saturation control in this inside wheel. So if I spin those to be like that, then I've got my dimmer control here on what brightness that I want them to be. So now let's move on. I'm gonna go do these. I know these are not really great colors working together. I'm just showing you how quick and easy this is to work with. And right there, let's turn that back up some. You can see those lights kind of giving that glow. They're more powerful than these are, so you see the kind of the background kind of change along with that to see kind of overall the pressing color that's going to happen there. I could take this right now. Let's say I want to turn these down to, let's say, to 70%, and I'm going to put these outside ones to 50%. And so now that I've got this set up this way, I can now just right click in my preset window over here and create a new preset, and it'll create it based on what I have in here right now. And I'm just going to call this test 1. And just as simple as that, you can create pretty clean lighting builds really quickly for just presets of things. So it's really easy to also add effects to all of these lights. So if I just click on my one here, we've got our test here that we've already done. Instead of with the dimmer and pulling up my values here, I am going to click on the down arrow, and I'm going to do add dimmer effect. Then we have all these options in here that work along with the lights. Positioning ones obviously wouldn't work because these lights aren't movers, but I have a lot of different options in here. So for these 4 up top here, I'm going to choose light wave. So now you can see what that does right out of the gate. I'm going to change my duration that the lights are on so that the movement kind of slows down overall. That's a little too slow, so we speed that back up a little bit. And you can see what's happening there. I've got options over here for timer offsets and all that sort of thing. You guys can play around with all the different effects that you'd like to. I'm going to come up to these as well. And if you do add dimmer fanning, so you can see there's now a fan of these lights coming across the change. I can change the fixture order if I so chose, and you can see how that goes across if you want to use that. I'm going to go ahead and do another effect on these. Let's go with can. And so you can see the lights kicking back there. And then let's go back in, and we're going to change the color. Let's come down to somewhere in there. Why not? So we changed the color. So now all of that is set, and I can once again right click, new preset, and we'll call this test 2. So now I have my test 2 doing its thing when I click on it here. If I come back up to number 1, it goes back here. And you can see if I want to edit this, I can come in, click on edit, and let's say that in this one, I just want to make those 4 lights. We're going to add rain. Why not? So, and then I click update, and now that program is set that way. So now I can click between these two. I could run my entire show right here from just clicking back and forth between the presets that I have built in here. So this was a pretty quick overview of how to get to, you can see how quickly that happened. Just within this video, we were able to put in all of our fixtures, organize them however we wanted to. You can go really deep in how your stage may be set up. You may have truss everywhere. You may want to put on stage your different musicians and things like that. Obviously, you can make this box a lot bigger and space this whole thing out if you have a lot more going on, and create your entire show here and then have a visual representation of what you're doing. And it happened really, really quickly. There's a lot of powerful things that happened there really quickly to get us going. So I really like LightKey. I think it's really user friendly. I think it's visually appealing. and really helpful and simple ways to make your system work. In a couple future videos, I'll kind of show you some of the other ways that I'm going to be using it. We'll go into this live panel and talk about how that works a little bit, or at least how I'm using it. I may use this stuff a little bit quirkier than some of the other videos you might find, but I'll teach you more about that in another video. I just wanted to give a quick overview of LightKey. I really like it for its functionality, how quick you can get to what you need it to do, and I think this would be really easy for volunteers to be able to program some things too and try some things out, use their own creativity to work really quickly to create some things within this in a really quick and easy fashion. It's not hard to teach at all. So I hope that was helpful to you. We'll be back in another video with some more details of how I'm going to use it, and also how I'm going to use it in conjunction with ProPresenter. That's a lot of fun to be able to have one person firing their cues within ProPresenter, and that queuing via MIDI in LightKey to do everything that I needed to do on a Sunday morning, so I don't need separate computer, separate people. We'll get into all that in another video, but I hope this one was helpful to you to at least get you started and see how quickly you can get started with LightKey. We'll come back in another one with more all about how to use it and how to get deep into some of the other things. Hope this was helpful. We'll see you guys next time.